The takahe, a large, flightless bird once believed to be extinct, has made a remarkable comeback in the forests of New Zealand's South Island. Hailed as one of the world's rarest native creatures, the takahe has been an intrinsic part of New Zealand's ecosystem since the prehistoric era, as shown by fossil remains.
This is a takahe. It has a remarkable story of resurrection. These large, flightless birds were thought extinct for half a century before one final population was discovered in a remote mountain valley in 1948.
Takahe are large, stout birds with vibrant plumage, featuring predominantly blue feathers on their bodies, green wings, and a large red beak. They were formally declared extinct in 1898, but were rediscovered in 1948 in several remote valleys on New Zealand's South Island. Since then, their numbers have steadily grown.
Which makes this all the more special. Two tiny, fluffy chicks, barely a day old.
The Tasmanian tiger, a dog-like mammal, has once again captured the imagination of zoologists and conservationists. The last captive one died in an Australian zoo in 1936, and the species was believed extinct by the 1960s. However, unconfirmed sightings since then have reignited interest, though some are seen as dubious.
The Tasmanian tiger, easily distinguished by his straight, unjointed tail, is also a dangerous opponent, though, like the devil, is now very rare.
Taken from the 1935 travelogue Tasmania the Wonderland, the images of Benjamin, believed to be the last filmed footage of a thylacine, were captured months before his death in 1936. However, a recent unconfirmed sighting in rural Australia has sparked hope, leaving many wishing for a miracle.
Out of its natural habitat by the march of civilization. This is the only one in captivity in the world.
This rare species, last seen in 1961, was thought to be extinct. But in November 2023, it was spotted alive in Indonesia's Cyclops Mountains, ending over 60 years of mystery. The long-beaked echidna is a unique mammal and is one of just 3 species in its genus. Like all echidnas, the long-beaked echidna lays eggs, making it, along with the platypus, one of the only egg-laying mammals on Earth. That's not their only odd trait. These creatures are covered in protective keratin spines and have a long protruding snout perfect for foraging insects. Another species once thought lost to history, the Chacoan peccary, was known only from fossils and declared extinct. However, in 1971, biologists followed up on local reports and rediscovered this pig-like ungulate alive in Argentina's hot, dry Chaco region.
The Chacoan peccary is primarily found in the dry scrublands and thorn forests of the Gran Chaco region, which spans parts of Argentina, Bolivia, and Paraguay.
The Chacoan peccary is larger, with longer legs and an elongated snout, perfectly suited to its arid habitat. However, while its discovery in 1971 surprised the Western world, local communities had long been familiar with this unique species.
Thrive in this harsh environment, relying on its keen sense of smell to locate food and water. They are medium-sized animals, typically measuring around 3 feet in length and weighing between 40 to 60.
One of the rarest discoveries is the Solenodon, a unique mammal that was once thought to be lost forever. Not only is it incredibly rare, but it's also one of the few venomous mammals. By the 1960s, the Cuban Solenodon's numbers had plummeted, and it was considered one of the rarest animals on Earth, if not extinct.
Pero para que tome foto ahí, mira, usando.
Okay.
Solenodons are nocturnal, shrew-like creatures with long, quivering snouts and venomous saliva used to kill small prey like lizards and frogs. Declared extinct in 1970, the species was rediscovered in 1974 when one was found in a Cuban national park, sparking hope for its survival. The Zanzibar leopard, one of several subspecies of leopard, once roamed the Zanzibar archipelago in Tanzania. While it's still unclear whether this large cat is truly extinct, there have been occasional unconfirmed sightings.
Look at that! Look at that! There is.
One of the most haunting videos captures the last Keaui'ō'ō bird, a male whose song was recorded in 1987. It was a mating call, an invitation to a female who was no longer there. With his death, the species went extinct that same year.
That's the last male of a species singing for a female who will never come.
This is a species straight from the depths of history. Known from 19th century fossils, the coelacanth was believed to have gone extinct 66 million years ago, at the end of the Cretaceous period. And the story behind its accidental find is now celebrated as one of the 20th century's greatest zoological discoveries. To everyone's astonishment, a live coelacanth was caught off South Africa's coast in 1938. The fishermen, unaware of its significance, showed it to museum worker Marjorie Courtney Latimer, who recognized its importance. This video shows the touching tale of the last 2 living northern white rhinos, both females, as the last male, Sudan, died in March 2018. The 45-year-old rhino passed away at Kenya's Ol Pejeta Conservancy, where he had been under armed guard, succumbing to old age and an infection.
I was looking after the last 2 known northern white rhinos. Every morning, I will go to the enclosure where the rhinos spend their night. I have to make sure that their overall body is okay, and then we let them out so that they can come and spend the day in this enclosure. Najin, she's very much attentive to details. She likes to spend a lot of time eating and resting. One thing she's really fond of, passing wind.
The 2 remaining females are unable to give birth. making the chance of a new generation of northern white rhinos highly unlikely. Poaching and habitat loss have decimated the population, pushing the species to the brink of extinction.
In the evening, though, what you have to do is say, "Hey girls, come on!" Then they will come and bring them back again into a smaller enclosure where we give them a more tight security over the night. I started calling them the Royal Girls because they enjoy so much security. We pamper them a lot. They have everything they need. They are celebrities for the worst reasons, so to say.
One of the rarest birds, the Bermuda petrel, locally known as the cahau, was listed as endangered on June 2, 1970. Once thought to be extinct for nearly 300 years, the species was rediscovered in the 1950s. With a population of about 450 individuals, the Bermuda petrel remains one of the rarest seabirds in the world. However, its numbers are slowly increasing thanks to breeding efforts in Bermuda. It is also the national bird of Bermuda. The Lord Howe Island stick insect, once so common on Lord Howe Island in Australia that fishermen use them as bait, clawed back from extinction.
The Lord Howe Island stick insect is the largest flightless stick insect and can grow up to 4 inches in length. That's almost the length of an adult human's hand. It is affectionately nicknamed the tree lobster, the land lobster, and even the walking sausage. Lord Howe Island stick insects were once so common on Lord Howe Island that they were used as bait by fishermen. Then, a British supply ship crashed on the island in 1918, accidentally introducing rats, who ate the insects.
After rats were introduced to the island in 1918 by a British supply ship, the insects were believed to have been eaten to extinction. However, in 2001, a small population of the species was discovered, marking the beginning of its remarkable comeback.
By 1960, they were declared extinct. Then, in 2001, Australian scientists discovered a tiny population hidden on a small volcanic island nearby. Thanks to a breeding program at Melbourne Zoo, they have been able to save and repopulate this species.
Goblin sharks are deep-sea dwellers found along continental shelves, primarily off Japan's coast. These endangered pink-colored creatures can reach 12 feet in length and weigh up to 460 pounds. With their narrow snouts and fang-like teeth, they bear a striking resemblance to the mythical goblins of Japanese folklore, inspiring their name.
And knows just how to use it. Most goblin sharks are 10 to 12 feet long, but they can grow much bigger. Sluggish, until they attack. These are the fastest fish jaws in the ocean. 10 feet per second. So fast it can only be seen in slow motion.
This Australian lizard hadn't been seen for over 50 years, but it made a miraculous comeback in 2023. Once common in Victoria, the Victorian grassland earless dragon became critically endangered in the 1960s due to habitat destruction, with its last confirmed sighting in 1969. Australia's Erlis dragon, once thought extinct, was rediscovered last year when 2 ecologists found one in the wild. Though a 2019 study suggested its extinction, unconfirmed sightings kept hope alive. An ecological survey confirmed its survival, leading to the collection of 16 individuals now part of a breeding program at Melbourne Zoo. This is the world's largest bee, Wallace's giant bee or Megachial Pluto, named after its first collector, Alfred Russel Wallace. This solitary bee, native to Indonesia, was long thought to be extinct.
Megachial Pluto, the world's largest bee, and something I've dreamed of seeing for about 9 years. We've been searching for 4 days now in the North Moluccas, and we stumbled across this nest and found the perfect nest entrance and waited, and here's our prize.
This giant bee is 4 times the size of a typical honeybee, measuring up to 4 centimeters in length with a wingspan of 2.5 inches. Until 2019, it hadn't been seen alive for 38 years, leaving scientists unsure of its existence. To the delight of entomologists, a female was found nesting in a termite nest. Despite the rediscovery, the species remains vulnerable to extinction, partly due to habitat loss from expanding palm oil plantations. The story of the northern big-eared bat is straight out of a novel. First collected in 1890 and named for its massive ears in 1914, it vanished for over a century. That is, until 2012, when 2 University of Queensland PhD students, while collecting bats, stumbled upon one they couldn't identify. Their curiosity led to a thorough investigation, uncovering the rediscovery of this elusive species.
The northern big-eared bat is a white-bellied gleaner bat that is very similar to Schmidt's large-eared bat. It is also known as the tiny big-eared bat.
After careful examination and comparison with museum specimens, the bat was identified as a female of the long-thought-extinct big-eared species. This rediscovery came as a pleasant surprise to conservationists who had feared it was wiped out by habitat loss and human encroachment.
The bat lives from Honduras to Bolivia and southern Brazil. Gleaner bats grab katydids, crickets, beetles, and roaches.
Another species lost for over 100 years is the dramatically named terror skink. Like the New Guinea big-eared bat, its rediscovery highlights the importance of museum collections. Both species were known from just a single preserved specimen, called a holotype, from which their names and descriptions were derived.
The prehensile-tailed skink's body is a greenish-olive colour with scattered black scales. This colouring, combined with its slow movements, helps the skink to camouflage with its surroundings and hide from enemies. Like other skinks, its head is flat and triangular. Their strong legs and sharp claws help them to climb trees. The defining feature on this skink is its prehensile tail, which allows them to grasp objects and branches for balance. Their tail makes up nearly half of their body's length.
The terror skink, first captured around 1870 in New Caledonia and described in 1876, was presumed extinct until it was rediscovered in 2000. Native to the Solomon Islands, these skinks are the largest of their kind, with green and olive coloration that camouflages them in the wild. Their most notable feature is their prehensile tail, which makes up half of their body length. Sadly, deforestation and the pet trade threaten their future.
The prehensile-tailed skink's habitat is under threat due to deforestation for lumber and agriculture. This and the skink's popularity within the pet trade has threatened their survival in the wild. This is the prehensile-tailed skink.
Antioquia brushfinch, this small Colombian bird made headlines in 2018 when a local birdwatcher spotted it on his way to Sunday Mass. It was the first sighting in almost 50 years, and the first time the bird had been seen alive since being declared a distinct species. Since its rediscovery, researchers now know where to look, and many more individuals have been found. This has raised hopes for saving the species from extinction. In a heartwarming story, India's native cheetah population was declared extinct in 1952, but now they're making a comeback. Namibia, home to one of the world's largest cheetah populations, is sending 8 wild cheetahs to India to help kickstart a 5-year restoration program.
Well, nature didn't intend for cheetahs to go extinct. They were hunted down. And now that they are back, once their numbers grow, they will disperse through the landscape. Cheetah, charismatic in its own right, has a special significance for the national conservation ethics and ethos.
The Eurasian lynx, a type of wild cat, was considered extinct across much of Central Europe for 200 years due to hunting and habitat loss.
Excellent eyesight, powerful hearing, incredible agility, and a gigantic size.
However, the lynx has now been successfully reintroduced to several countries, including Switzerland, Slovenia, Croatia, France, Italy, the Czech Republic, Germany, and Austria.
Having said that, the lynx does like a bit of a challenge and prefers large animals, but that in no sense implies that it will give up on smaller prey, for example, a fox.
The black-footed ferret, a type of weasel, was once considered the rarest mammal in the world. Officially recognized as threatened in 1967, the species nearly disappeared due to the human-driven extermination of prairie dogs, their main food source.
Black-footed ferrets are really cool, rowdy prairie predators.
By 1987, only 18 black-footed ferrets were thought to remain. They were placed in a captive breeding program, and reintroduction efforts began in U.S. national parks in 1994 and 2007.
They feed everything.
A single black-footed ferret can eat over 100 prairie dogs a year. Bobcats, swift foxes, and birds of prey eat them too. But before they become dinner, prairie dogs serve another important function in the ecosystem.
Another success story of restoration efforts. Red kites, a large bird of prey, were driven to the brink of extinction in England by the end of the 19th century due to being considered a threat to game birds and pets.
Here at Gigrin Farm in Wales, you are being surrounded by about 250 red kites. They gather here at the same time each day to gorge themselves in a feeding frenzy. This has all been captured in 360 degrees, so make sure you take a good look around. As you can see, they are incredibly agile flyers, and if you watch closely, you can see a couple of kites fight for food in mid-air. See if you can find them.
The reintroduction of red kites to the UK is considered one of the greatest conservation success stories of the 20th century. Following a 4-year reintroduction project, there are now thought to be at least 1,000 breeding pairs in the area.
They're grabbing their food during flight, rarely landing on the ground. The bird you can see on the grass is actually a common buzzard, trying to get a free meal. Sadly, there haven't always been this many kites here. They were almost hunted to extinction, and by the end of the 19th century, the UK had just 10 pairs remaining. But thanks to an amazing breeding project, they have returned to a healthy population.
This is Przewalski's horse, an endangered wild horse species, considered the world's only truly wild horse. In China, it became extinct due to excessive poaching and environmental degradation.
These Przewalski's horses are the first of their kind to gallop the vast steppes of Kazakhstan in nearly 2 centuries.
China began reintroducing Przewalski's horses from the UK, US, and Germany in 1985. Since then, more than 800 wild horses have been bred across 6 generations.
The Przewalski's horse is genetically different and the only true wild horse subspecies. Its lineage split thousands of years ago before horses were domesticated.
Vultures have long had a bad reputation in Spain, often being illegally poisoned due to the misconception that they prey on living cattle. However, vultures are critical to maintaining nature's balance by rapidly cleaning and recycling the bodies of dead animals. Despite their importance, they have largely disappeared from Europe over the past 200 years due to a lack of food, habitat loss, persecution, and poisoning.
Thereby reducing the danger of infection. They are fundamentally important for the health of
5 dead vultures were found this year alone in the province of Ciudad Real. They had all been put.
Vulture populations are slowly increasing thanks to reintroduction programs and species protection efforts.
There are approximately 80,000 vultures living in Spain. They scavenge around 10,000 tons of carrion a year.
Native to South Africa, the quagga went extinct in the late 19th century. It looked like a mix between a zebra, with its characteristic front stripes, and a horse with its plain rear.
The newly bred quaggas will never truly be the same may help us understand how fundamental it is to save those species from extinction that are.
Scientists are working to resurrect the quagga through reverse engineering by selectively breeding zebras. Early efforts have shown some success in recreating its distinct appearance.
See it as a stunt that gives us the feeling of repairing something while actually having no impact on the conservation of biodiversity on this planet. The human factor plays a significant role in determining what defines a quagga in this project. While scientists focus on appearance, it is completely unknown what behavioral traits the original quaggas had. That is why the bred animals are called raw quaggas, to account for those differences.
The smooth handfish is one of the world's rarest fish. Once abundant in the waters around Australia just 200 years ago, it was declared extinct in 2020. Named after the uncanny resemblance to human arms and hands, its close relative, the red handfish, is also critically endangered with only about 100 individuals left in the wild. This species is found in just 2 small subpopulations in southeastern Tasmania.
On captive breeding, working with the IMAS aquaculture team. They'll focus on habitat management and mitigation of threats. We'll also be able to investigate some key conservation strategies, including translocation of
going extinct, and we don't want to see that with another Tasmanian species in the red handfish as well.
The Bramble Cay melames, a small brown rodent native to Bramble Cay near the Great Barrier Reef, was officially declared extinct by the IUCN in 2015.
The first recorded mammal extinction due to human-induced climate change has just been confirmed. Scientists from the University of Queensland in Australia have verified that the Bramble Cay melames, Melames rubicoba, has most likely gone extinct. The Bramble Cay melames was a small, brown rodent that lived in fields. The Bramble Cay melames.
Last seen in 2009, this is the first recorded mammal extinction linked to human-induced climate change. The species' likely extinction was due to the fact that the melames lived in areas below sea level, which made them highly vulnerable to rising sea levels.
Lived in areas below sea level, something that contributed to their extinction. The researchers believe that recent human-induced climate change is to blame. Rapidly rising sea levels in the areas where the melames lived in caused extreme habitat loss, and frequent severe storms made.
Also known as the baiji, the Yangtze River dolphin was last seen in 2002. One of the most well-known functionally extinct cetacean species, the baiji's decline was primarily caused by human activities. Once numbering up to 5,000 in the Yangtze River in the 1950s, their population dwindled to just 300 in the mid-1980s, and only 13 individuals were cited in surveys during the late 1990s. This rare footage of a captive Yangtze River dolphin called Kuiki, nicknamed the Lonely Dolphin, was captured by Professor John Wang, a research fellow at the Third Institute of Oceanography, China. The Laotian rock rat, first described in 2005, was thought to have been extinct for 11 million years. This species is found in a small region of the Great Annamite Range, spanning Laos and Vietnam. The Spix macaw went extinct in the wild due to habitat destruction, illegal trapping, and trade. Also known as the little blue macaw, this bird is famous for its vibrant blue feathers. Once thought extinct in the wild, the Spix macaw now exists in captivity, with only around 60 to 80 individuals remaining. Another tragic tale of human negligence and overconsumption. The passenger pigeon once numbered in the millions, possibly even billions, when Europeans first settled in America. But it went from billions of birds to extinction before our very eyes.
Because she was the last passenger pigeon in existence. She died in September of 1914 at the Cincinnati.
Humans hunted the passenger pigeon to the point of extinction, and combined with habitat loss, this once abundant species was doomed.
Extinct primarily due to habitat loss and commercial harvesting of the birds for food, for protein to feed livestock. The railroads provided a cheap and economical way and rapid way at the time to
Although not extinct, the wild European bison has been reintroduced into a forest in Kent, southeast England, to help manage the woodland.
Bison. They were introduced by the Kent Wildlife Trust and the Wildwood Trust.
The hope is that the bison will help transform a dense commercial pine forest into a vibrant natural woodland. They are the first wild bison in Britain for thousands of years.
The right players back in the game. European bison can be a nature-based solution to the problem. Really, their superpower is their ability to create these little, we call them microhabitats. They're really homes. You start seeing.
Another species once thought lost is the Pyrenean ibex, which was officially declared extinct in 2000. However, in 2009, it was resurrected through cloning, nearly a decade after its extinction.
Es imposible, tiene que haber un macho. ¿Cómo no? Murió. Pues tristeza.
This is the golden toad, one of the brightest species to disappear in the past 40 years. Last seen in 1989 in a Costa Rican rainforest, it was declared extinct in 1994, mostly due to climate change and global warming. The stunning Madeiran large white butterfly was once found in the valleys of the Lauri Silva forests on Portugal's Madeira Islands. Its closest relative, the common large white, is widespread across Europe, Africa, and Asia.
Small black spot on the inner edges of both hindwings. The undersides have a grayish tint covered with tiny black specks, and the upper surface is cream white. The female is differentiated from the male by having two long black spots on the forewings.
The decline of the Madeiran large white butterfly is primarily due to habitat loss from construction and pollution from agricultural fertilizers. While it hasn't been officially declared extinct, the butterfly has not been seen for decades.
And when they were ready to pupate and hibernate, one female produced multiple generations per year. The caterpillars devoured vegetable plots rich in glucosinolates.
Another tragic result of deforestation, the Carolina parakeet was the only bird of its kind native to the eastern U.S. The last known Carolina parakeet died at the Cincinnati Zoo in February 1918, shortly after his mate, Lady Jane, passed away.